Welcome, everyone, to a very special, amazing, spectacular, ultimate episode of Educated Discussions. I'm joined by
Elmo.
And we're in my house today. And we are going to review Spider-Man No Way Home.
Who are you again?
Felipe. I forgot to say my name.
Yeah, we're at Felipe's house and we're going to talk about this film that I would assume you would have seen, because we're going to be discussing some spoilers as we progress through the some of our thoughts on Spider-Man No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
I had to
now,
think.
we've only discussed one thought of the movie, so I actually haven't even heard your full thoughts on this film. So this will be a live reaction to your thoughts on the film, and you will hear my thoughts on the film. So let us begin with yourself as the guest.
I had a discussion with a coworker, and I remember thinking, based on my review scale of 1 through 5, I know you hate that, but I was like, what would I rank this as? And should I reveal that now? Is that like a thing we should say?
Quickly, Jesus.
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
And I felt weird about that because it hit so many notes so brilliantly that it felt weird. I'm like, why didn't I give this a 5? And I think something that, and I'm going to get to the negative first before I get to the positive. So we could, focus on that. It definitely felt like I think there were 4 set action pieces, but they seemed really sporadic. And I think the movie could have used maybe a little bit more of that action, because it was definitely a lot of like banter and storyline happening. And they were obviously saving a lot of like that big set piece for the end, but I would have enjoyed maybe a little more of the fisticuffs going throughout the movie.
Okay.
But it really hit, like, it's such a, I'm trying not to use the 3 words you started with to use the Spider-Man pun. It was a spectacularly done movie. Aesthetic wise, I have no complaints.
Okay.
Like just with all the visuals and everything.
Oh yeah. Come on.
When it comes to like the writing, I'm like, this was really well done. Some of it was a little on the nose, but you know what you're doing. I know what I'm in for. I'm fine. And it just all those characters played those parts incredibly well. Like I don't think I could look at any of those people and be like, in my head, everyone was perfectly cast.
Okay.
Like I had no.
I mean,
complaints.
It was the old cast.
Yeah, like it just. But even like I remember in the past, like this was probably the most I've liked Peter as a character. For example,
which Peter?
Of the Tom Holland one.
Okay.
Just because like it's a little bit more of him coming into his own and flirting more with where the other 2 Peters have been, and because. I don't remember how much the original Spider-Man films focused on him in high school. It started out with him graduating. Like I mean, obviously there was the scene with Fighting Flash and in the hallway and him catching the lunch tray and everything. But that was fairly early on into the movie, and then they were graduating. Right,
so
and then I believe Amazing Spider-Man 2 starts with them graduating from high school.
No, he was in high school and all. Oh, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yes, you're right. Yes.
So we've had 2 films with him in high school, and this is now where we're getting like him being done with high school, so getting more of a feel of like what he's going to be in like the positions the other Spider-Men have been in. And I was like, I felt like we've got a good path forward if they do a Spider-Man 4.
All right.
Which I don't know if that's been confirmed.
There's been a lot of mixed rumors out there. He himself's like, yeah, I kind of want to take a break, But then like the same day, all the producers like, no, we got 3 other movies and or 3 more movie contract, and he's in them, and we have all these plans. And then like the next day from that, he's like, yeah, I kind of want to like focus on family a little bit, and I'm just like, oh my god.
I mean, you can't.
Does he know he's in this?
I mean, you can't trust anything they say.
No, of course,
not like to be mean, but it's just there's contracts, there's non-disclosure agreements going on.
All right, so you kind of jumped around there a lot, and you covered a lot of topics. So overall, you liked it, because that's what all I was asking. So you liked the film?
Yes.
Okay, so now you were already diving into a lot of these topics we were going to get into later. But okay,
it was an appetizer.
Sure. Well, for my thoughts, this movie was hype, and I loved it. And this is gonna show a clear differentiator here because we've established you're the negative one. So clearly you have some negative thoughts on the film, and I loved almost all of it.
Have they listened to the last like 7 episodes where you were the negative one?
That is incorrect.
Okay,
but we'll breeze past that because we don't like lying on this podcast. But anyways, I clearly enjoyed this movie a lot more than you did, and man, I knew a lot of this stuff was gonna happen, and it was still awesome when it did. I don't know why we're talking like we're not spoiling anything. We got Toby, we got Andrew, and we got our boy, man.
No, save that.
No, we're saving it.
No,
okay.
Okay.
I caught myself with, I guess, to summarize what I thought about this movie. I've seen it twice, so clearly I like it more than you, right? So I saw it once in IMAX, right? And then I came back from my holiday vacation and saw it once again within a week of us recording this, okay? Both times in the theater, and I guess I can't do a good job explaining it because it's an audio cast. I caught myself holding my hands,
in prayer,
almost like a prayer, but like a not really. It was more like a my hand over covering my fist, like of excitement. You know, when someone gets all giddy. I caught myself doing that twice. I was like, "What am I doing?" Like, I would be like this, watching, like so excited, looking at the theater, and I've already seen this movie, and I caught myself doing it again. I'm like, "Oh, I gotta let go," but then I didn't care, so I went back to it. Oh man, I loved it. I loved it so much. So many things that happened, so many tearjerker moments, so much nostalgia brought back for me, so much of my childhood, brought to life, and a phase that I thought was over with Toby's movies being done. I wasn't a huge fan of the Andrew movies, but I respected some of the things that they did. But they brought them both back, and they gave me kind of like a sense of closure that I really didn't know I needed, or wanted or whatever. But they gave it to me. I didn't ask for it, but here it is. And they just, to me, nailed it. I mean, those characters were exactly how they were, older looking, but yeah, man, they brought back all the villains, and they were all exactly how they were in the past. Like everything was just, when it comes to fan service,
all the villains.
What do you mean?
You seem to have ignored the other Green Goblin from Amazing Spider-Man. They were
the ones that matter. Yeah, the Rhino wasn't in it. He was a villain. You know what I'm saying?
He was mentioned.
Venom wasn't in it, so you know what I mean. They brought back the villains that they brought back were all the ones from the past, and they were all cool and pretty much exactly the same, with the exception of Electro's Jamie Foxx's Electro, which changed in appearance, probably for the better. But yeah, man, fan service wise, movie hit. Besides the fan service, the movie was fantastic. The storyline was great. Like I said, very emotional. Left me with a lot of questions, like how are they doing this? Like I just thought of like how smart everything was, of how they tied everything back together, and transitioning into what I know Spider-Man to be, because I grew up with Tobey Maguire movies, I grew up with some of the cartoons, and then of course Amazing Spider-Man came out as well and followed a similar script. But I know Spider-Man to be this guy living on his own, struggling with rent, struggling with money, trying to balance his work life with Spider-Man, or his personal life and Spider-Man's life together. And most of that wasn't really shown in the previous Holland films. Like, he struggled a little bit, but nothing. It was never that serious.
He was still in high school.
Yeah. So. But he was in the other ones too. But, his real troubles came once he was an adult. And this movie ended that way. And now it's like, you went through all this already, and now you're ending at the starting point of what I knew the other Spider-Mans to be. So that leaves so much more to come, hopefully. So my review scale, the more accurate one, out of 10, with 0.5s being included, 9.5.
So then what keeps it from a 10?
Well, we can get into that. You said you wanted to focus on some negatives, right?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Negative, another Spider-Man villain, everyone.
Oh yeah,
from the games. Most made popular in the games.
Yeah.
Let's begin with what you didn't like in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think really just what I mentioned. It just felt like the action set pieces were, again, I greatly enjoyed my time. Mm-hmm. It just was definitely like, I'm like, oh yeah, there's fights in this.
I would agree with you when you were bringing up the man. There should have been a couple more. I wouldn't have mind to see Peter find Lizard himself.
Yeah, I mean, this movie was already long.
It was long. I get it.
Something, you know,
it didn't feel long though.
No,
it didn't, man. I was the whole time. I'm like, once I saw him get to the Statue of Liberty, I'm like, oh man, the movie's almost over. Like already, even though it was already 2 hours in or whatever. But I wouldn't have mind seeing some more. Peter finding Lizard would have been cool. I didn't like that Doctor Strange did it. All of a sudden, he was just there. I would have loved to have seen Tom's Peter Parker figure out what the Lizard is and how to fight him and all that stuff. Okay, so I agree with you with that. I would mind a couple extra scenes. Mm-hmm. Continue.
I mean, and then I would also just say that my own selfishness here. Mm-hmm. I think I like him more than you do, but the lack of the Eddie Brock until later.
Oh, you mean after credits?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That giddiness that you said you felt. There's one point in the movie that I was beyond the level of anything, but that giddiness. And I enjoyed it. It's not trying to say anything like that. Again, 4 out of 5 is a fantastic score, but
that's good. Not fantastic.
But I was so sad. They ended on such a sad note for me because I really like that Eddie Brock, that Tom Hardy.
You like this new Venom?
I very much like him. I think he does a great job. So that they just and when he showed up in the post credits, because I forgot about that. By that, so it was just like I was like, oh my god, oh yeah, I guess. But I was like, man,
I have a question to you on that. Okay. We'll get to that later of what you think that actually means and what I think it's pretty obvious what they're trying to do with that. But interesting choice. But we'll get into that later. But okay, so you're not happy that Venom wasn't in it, that Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock wasn't in it as much. Okay, I can see that. I was okay.
You are not as much of a fan.
Yeah, no.
So, but that, I mean, when it comes to negatives, that's really all I can say. One of them was a personal one. One of them was the latter was a personal one, and the other one is probably what I think the movie actually needed.
Okay. Negatives for me, obviously, I think this movie's pretty close to exactly what I wanted. Though real only negatives is the ones I just kind of mentioned. Like, yeah, I can agree with you. I would love. I was like, I wanted to see the lizard fight. I wanted to see. It was a cool subversion of expectations when all of a sudden Sandman was kind of helping with Electro for a second. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, Peter, I'm Flip Marco. Like, yeah, it's a weird way to introduce yourself, but yeah. So they kind of helped. Like, I kind of wouldn't mind seeing Peter fight Sandman, but I get it. I mean, I think it worked in that specific.
I really liked that scene.
Yeah, it was different because it's like that's right. They didn't end on a bad note. Right. He just kind of disappeared. So. Although I wanted to see the fight happen, I got kind of some of that later, but not really. You got to see him all big and stuff. Big, giant, mega Sandman is not my favorite Sandman. I like Sandman fighting Spidey in the money truck, whatever that
I mean, if you think of the visuals in Spider-Man 3 with the Sandman, like that was some of the best FX you could see at the time. Yeah. So to like picture what they could do with that now in a Sandman focused movie.
Yeah.
That'd be a very pretty film.
Exactly, yeah. But they definitely cheaped out on that. And did you notice that it was reused footage for him?
I didn't notice it was reused footage, but I definitely was like, oh, he's not really there.
Yeah, that was one of my negatives. I do not like that they weren't able to have Flint be. The thing is, I'm sure Thomas Hayden Church looks a lot older than he did then, but they were able to do it with Goblin and with freaking Doc Ock. What's his name? Yeah, Alfred Molina. Whatever. Yeah. So why couldn't they just do that with Thomas?
I mean, I think it was scheduling issues. Like he just.
I'm sure, but that's one of my negatives. I'm like, I would have loved to have seen him because I liked him. Like he looked out when they casted him way back in the day, and I was like, that could not be a more perfect depiction of what I think Sandman should look like. Like at least in the Raimi universe, the way it fit. So, anyways, it was a weird decision to have him always be in the sand the sand form, which was never the case in the old movies. So I don't know. I get the decision, but I didn't like it. But I'm glad that he was able to at least provide his voice, because that was him. And but yeah, it was reused footage at the end when they fixed him, and he was like doing this. That was just the exact same scene. Well,
I didn't notice at the time.
It was the exact same scene, because I've seen Spider-Man 3 so many freaking times, and I know it. So the moment I saw it, I'm like, I mean, I guess that's smart that they're doing that since he's unable to do it. But I'm like, that's old footage. And then the one I didn't know was reused footage also was for the Lizard when he was healed. That was the same thing. It was just reversed.
It was so zoomed in on him.
Yeah, it was awkward angles, and they didn't speak like thank you or anything. It was just kind of like, all right, move on to the next, So that was one of my negatives, and not enough of our boy that we're going to talk about in a second. But still happy he was there. But that's really it. I don't have that much negatives. Like,
no, you said it was a 9.5, so
it's pretty close
to make it
exactly
a 10.
What I wanted.
Get Flint Marko in there.
Yeah.
And another action scene somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
I did enjoy there was a brief moment where the Lizard was chasing Ned and MJ in the lab.
Yeah.
Very Jurassic Park-like, but it was just such a different, like, kind of feel from anything they had done in that movie at that point that I was weirdly hyped for that, like, that 30 seconds of action where he was chasing those two in there, and then Spider-Man came in. And
I mean, it's weird that by this point we should know that in a scene like that's set up, we know nothing's going to happen to them, but they still built that tension pretty well, as he's really getting close to them, all that stairs flying all over the place. So it was kind of, I agree with you. That was a pretty, more intense than you would think scene for what it was, something so basic, but they just did so many things so well.
It's scenes like that, and we Goblin, like my dad, I think he was trying to get my 3-year-old in the theater.
Okay.
For her to get brought, and I'm just like, she couldn't handle it. Like, she's used to Spider-Man on a little cartoon. Friends, just like, who stole all the DVDs or something? Whatever. Who stole from the museum? Like,
the DVDs in the museum.
Yeah, whatever. But this, I just can't even imagine her going through this, because there were instances where this is pretty like dark and in tone.
Oh, a quick thing. I would have liked to have seen Tom tussle with Green Goblin in the beginning, right when Green Goblin was showing up on the bridge, and all of a sudden he was in Doctor Strange Land or whatever. And the what is it called? The something sanctum or something?
Sanctum of Solitude,
something like that. Yeah. Just fight him a little bit, fight him on the glider just for a second, and then be transported. Like, I was just getting into it, But
I can see that.
So that's one of the things, that I agree with you, with a little bit more action. I wouldn't have minded, but that scene with Doctor Strange, fighting him, that kind of made up for it. The power of math and geometry. That was a good scene, man. It's visually just incredible. I can't wait to watch that on TV.
Definitely. But I was waiting for that cheesy line when he's like, when he brought up math.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, sure.
Well, it's good because
I cheesily made the joke in the theater before it happened, and then it happened, and then I was like, oh, that's how I sounded.
Okay. What was the joke you made?
It's just the power of math, something like that. Just and he's like, you know what's stronger than your magic? Math, something like that.
Yeah.
Man, I'm Spider-Man, man. Anyway, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's such a little thing.
Jeez. Calm down with the negativity. You're ruining my positivity because I'm Mr. Positive.
Don't worry. It'll once we get to a certain point.
Not this movie. Let me tell you. Okay, so we discussed, what we like about the movie. Let's get to the real thing that we like about this movie.
No, this is what I'm saying. Like, don't you think I'm being a downer? Wait till we get to this.
Well, I have to bring some levity to this cast. Let me tell you, how hyped did you feel when you saw that walking stick?
So I told several people this. I was talking about this for weeks, for months. I've been talking about this since the end of the second Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
I kept being like, to anyone who would listen and be like, he needs a lawyer. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, that's what I'm
he
saying.
needs a lawyer. He's gonna be in the legal troubles. And then in the trailer that we did a whole reaction to that trailer.
Couple reactions.
And that woman was definitely there. Which in that
sorry,
go to that old video. Go to that old video
on
our YouTube page. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere you find your favorite podcasts. Don't forget to leave a comment or leave a 5-star review, maybe 4 stars if you want to, be as real as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But when the whole time I was like, and I told people this, I was like, look, Toby's great, and I stood away from all spoilers. Toby's great, Andrew, he's cool, Goblin, whatever. If they get my boy Matt Murdock in this movie and Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, exactly. Then there's nothing better. Like
you can finally watch the show.
Oh, yes. So for listeners, I have not watched Daredevil season 3 on Netflix because I always told Felipe, wait, hold on, he's gonna react. What did you call me?
Idiot.
Okay. Okay, Dwight. Anyway, I was like, I can't watch Daredevil season 3 until I know the fate of the character. Like, is he done? So is me watching this season a goodbye, or is this just a taste for more later? And I can finally watch Daredevil season 3 because they put it. Okay, wait, I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, you can jump ahead.
So the whole time, like they're like, even like his aunt's like, you're gonna need a lawyer.
Yeah,
and MJ.
Yeah, she was just like, don't talk to anyone until you have a lawyer or something like that.
There's lawyers.
So the whole police scene's happening, the whole police station thing. I'm like, where is he?
I kept waiting.
But then it cut to daytime, and for a split second, I was like, and then. Oh!
What, I was so sad. As soon as they left the
police station,
because I was waiting for the
Jessica Jones
or
Defenders scene.
Yeah. Where he's like, Jessica Jones, stop talking. He's like, who are you? I don't know why she sounds like that, but as soon as it hit daytime, I was like, I lost so much hope.
But it was 3 seconds, and they back.
They did. And as soon as I saw this thing, I was like, no, I'm getting goosebumps right now. I was like, they did it. I let's just say I was so excited.
Yeah.
I accidentally punched myself in the face.
Oh yeah, you told me that. This is for listeners. We only talked about the fact that he was in it briefly, like a couple days back. That's the only thing I knew about how he thought about the film before he made his terrible ranking. But so you punched yourself in the face. Describe that for the listeners.
So I was sitting in my chair, seat back a little reclined. When I saw that walking stick, the emotion that rose through my feet all the way to my chest, to hit the smile on my face, and then
you literally hit the smile on your face.
His face showed. I was like, oh my god. And I'm like, yes. And then I was going like this, and I was so excited. I punched myself in the face. Like I just kind of knocked myself in the gum.
He was shadow boxing everyone in excitement.
Okay,
but he drew it back too quickly, and he knocked himself in the chin.
I kind of got myself in the gum.
Oh god, gums. Okay.
There might have been a slight bit of blood.
Okay,
as I was worth it. Just very little. But
Daredevil's gone through a lot worse.
Maybe this is why the movie was anything but a 5 for me in a weird way. And I realize I'm biased.
Yeah. Because you hate yourself.
I believe I turned to the side and I was like, you can end a movie.
You say what?
You can end a movie now. Like, it's not going to get better than this. Like, this is the high point for me. And I know I'm biased and I know that you can never do that. But it was legitimately what I wanted the most. And I knew nothing would hit that high. And I stood away from all spoilers that I could possibly stay away from.
If you haven't guessed, we are big Charlie Cox Daredevil fans. We really enjoy his performance in the show.
He's amazing.
Him more so as an actual lawyer than him as Daredevil, although he kicks butt.
I need to see season 3.
You do, man. You got a season ahead of you from the very little.
I'm so excited. 4 years ago. I'm so excited to get into that now. Now I know. Now I can watch it right now. Anyway.
Okay.
Sorry. No.
Oh, you're still going.
Highest point for me personally, and I can spend the next 10 minutes talking about this. Then he caught the brick.
Well, that's what I was gonna get at. I was like, the amount of relief I had. I was so happy. I'm like, there he is. I'm like, I know we're not going to see him be Daredevil or do anything too cool.
Right.
But then the brick came through and he caught it, and I was like, he still did Daredevil stuff without being Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
And
I told him, I remember I told him, I'm like, listen, look, he caught that brick. He's better than Spider-Man. And then my sister's like, well, he's closer to the window. I'm like, yeah, but he's blind. And okay, that's dumb. That was just me being funny. And then I said, but his back was turned.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man, with his Spidey sense facing the direction of impact, Daredevil did it without even. I can't say without even looking, but he did it from behind.
Yeah.
He's better than Spider-Man.
He's got more experience.
Why did they need? Why did they need Andrew Garfield? Just throw. No, I'm just joking. But I definitely at the point was like, I know he's not in this movie anymore, and I'm just so happy. But there really is no way it can be topped for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was the highest point because I have such an affinity for Tobey Maguire. Mm-hmm. Okay, and with him they gave me, which we'll get into later, exactly what I wanted, but it matched it. If not right below it, it matched it. Just because I know what this means now, and he is canon as can be. Like, they said the shows were canon, but they never really were. He is canon now to the storyline, and that means they're going to use him a lot more. Throw him in the Disney Plus shows. I don't know. Does
that mean they're going to use him more?
Yes, they will.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't do something like that and not use him. Whether or not he's there in the next Avengers movie, I don't think.
I mean, that would be great, but I don't like. I'm really satisfied, and this was a great like farewell to them and return and farewell. So like, if we never get any more of them,
of who?
I'm like Toby.
Oh,
Andrew.
we're not. I don't think we're gonna get any more of them.
Oh, that's what I thought you were saying. We're gonna get more Toby.
No. More Matt Murdock.
We better.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's what you said. No. Okay. Put him in everything. No, put him in everything. I've been waiting for him. I'm sorry, Felipe. I've been waiting for. I remember the first. I think it was Age of Ultron actually, or maybe even the first Avengers. I forget the timeline of when the shows came out, but I remember just being like during at least one Avengers movie, if not two, being like, just put him in the background fighting. I'm pretty sure it was in New York. Yeah, I was like, just show him throwing his baton. Like, whatever it's called.
I wouldn't have agreed.
Just something in the background. Yeah. And Luke Cage
just taking the bullets. I don't know.
Something. So like this was like a dream come true in a way. I'm so happy. We get this podcast. Thank you, everybody. Keep it educated out there. This not going to get
not the tone we use.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
He better be
to briefly maybe point one of the reasons that I was also sad about him in the movie. Not sad about him in the movie, but sad how things end. No one knows who Peter Parker is anymore, so how is he gonna, like, he's done helping Peter in his situation, so that's it. So unless somehow later in the movies Peter was like, you know, that one lawyer I had was he did that one really interesting thing. I wonder if, or unless he falls under other kind of troubles and he's like, well, he was really good. Let me, but then they have to do the introduction again.
But you're married, right?
I am married, yes.
You found your soulmate, right? Mm-hmm. Peter will find him again.
He's going to get married to Matt Murdock.
No, but we're all meant to have a little Matt Murdock in our lives. And
all right.
And in reality, like, Peter's going to get into
We're spending a lot of time
Peter's going to get into some sort of nonsense.
For a 3-minute scene in the movie.
Less. Yeah. They could do anything.
We did a whole prediction episode. Hey, is Daredevil in this movie? He was. We nailed it. So that's why we're spending too much time. We were just both really excited for him.
Time.
That's why we're spending the appropriate amount of time.
I mean,
we're really excited for him. And he's there back now. I mentioned this briefly, and I'm avoiding spoilers as much as I can. But have you been keeping up with Hawkeye?
I finished Hawkeye.
Oh, you did?
I did.
So you saw what I was referring to?
Yes.
Okay. I guess we won't spoil Hawkeye. But the moment they had the reveal of somebody in episode 5 at the very, very end, I was like, and they timed that right before, because the movie comes out on, or the show comes out on Wednesdays on Disney Plus, or it did. And then Spider-Man technically Thursdays now, because they do that early release thing. They timed it so perfectly with that being the reveal to give you 1 day to sit on it. But that's all I needed. Once I saw that, I was like, he's going to be in the film tomorrow. Daredevil's going to be in the film. And I'm not, Daredevil was not in Hawkeye. I'll give you that. But they have a big clue of it being in the universe. And once they showed this particular person, I was like, that's it. But there was the slight part of me, I was like, but what if he's not, you know?
What if they get Danny Rand instead?
He was... Yeah.
I was okay with him.
He was fine at times.
The end of season 2 is amazing.
Oh, God.
I'm not going to spoil it, but when he's doing
finger guns.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Okay. Let's hit the parts that were very fan servicey to a comedic effect. They did the spider point.
Yes.
Not in, unfortunately, I wanted it to be done in the outfit, but that would have been too obvious. Them pointing to each other while they were dressed up as Spider-Man. But they still recreated the same scene. I think once or twice, actually, as Peter Parker's. So when they say, hey, Peter, they're like, what, who, me? Him? Like, you know? Yeah. And they did it. So I was just like, all right. So the producers were smart. They know the memes. And they actually already knew the memes. They recreated it in Into the Spider-Verse in one of the post-credit scenes. Yeah. So they had something like that. But now we get to see it live action, and it was great. Norman Osborn saying, I'm something of a scientist myself. Are you not familiar with that meme?
I'm not familiar with
No way.
I'm not. I don't go on to Facebook stuff.
Yeah. You're lame. Okay. It's a meme. They now change up with the scientist myself thing. And I don't know, when someone says, when I know the 20% tip without doing the math or something like a bad example. And then they have the picture of Norman Osborn. He's like, I'm something of a, and then they change the word to a mathematician myself or whatever. So they say little things like that. So they had him re-say the line, and it was just perfect.
I weirdly I don't think I've ever encountered this meme, to be honest. Okay. But that line and its inflection, I do feel like I specifically remember it. Yeah. From the movie.
It's just a weird thing to say.
They said it in. Now I'm feeling like the fact that I do remember it, like they were definitely like pointing. I don't know. I just weirdly remember that line.
Yeah, yeah. And then, but did you remember it in the movie when he said it? Like when he said it in the film, you're like, oh, that's from the first. No. Oh, you didn't?
But just when you're describing it now, I remember this.
No, that's... Like, and a lot of people in the theater understood it. The talk about the web fluid. Like, oh yeah, I'm like, are they? Because I just want them to just have a quick scene of them acknowledging that Toby can just shoot webs out of himself. And they went on a little longer than I thought they were going to, and went on the little
fantastic
adolescent side of it, and it was just so good. And I was just so happy they did it. I really like the scene of Ned going to the different Peters and asking them, and then just Peter being Tobey Maguire's Peter being so deadpan. He's like, yeah, I mean, I had a best friend, and he died in my arms. He was trying to kill me or something. And he's just like, he doesn't realize how it's affecting him. Right. He's just going because he's really focused on creating the serum. And then Ned's face, just Ned was on fire this film with him getting the magic, and he's always great, but specifically this film, he was really good, and him reacting to that and telling Tom's Peter saying, "Yeah, I'll never kill you or try to kill you or go bad or whatever."
If I may be incorrect, but I believe, well, first of all, your wife is Filipino.
Mm-hmm. Has some Filipino in her. Yeah.
Did she enjoy the Tagalog scenes?
She was unsure that it was Tagalog. She's like, "Is that Tagalog? That sounds like Tagalog, but not
I believe
how
I'm used to hearing it."
No, it is. Okay. It is. But yeah, she did. She was happy that was brought into light. I have a couple more things that I feel like I'm doing all the talking here. Do you have any other fun moments that you happy were maybe acknowledged by seeing all these Spider-Men together?
One came to mind, but I'm forgetting. So maybe I'll bring up something that I wish happened, and then you can continue, and maybe it'll come back to me.
Okay.
It would have been great. And this is totally like a selfish me part again. What if there was a fourth time and Ned was going to do the portal thing again? He's like, well, I got to find Peter. he's going to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And MJ stops him. But he makes enough of a portal that you see like a little tip of it, and it goes, and it just cuts. I would have been so happy. That would have been so happy.
I don't know about that one.
And it's even got like the animation in the portal.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Jamie Foxx Electro wanted a Black Spider-Man.
He sure did.
Should have given it to him.
And that was enough of a reference to me where I was content with what he had said.
Also, just a quick aside, my sister and I made a lot of fun of this. What was Jamie Foxx extra Django-ish in this movie?
He had an extra swagger to him that he definitely did not have in the previous films, and that's actually. I was gonna elaborate a little further in the plot hole section of this cast whenever we get to it, but it's also one of the negatives is Jamie Foxx's Electro, even though I hate saying negative because then I get more associated with your thoughts on life. But no, because I loved him in this film. I loved him so much more in this than I did in Amazing Spider-Man 2. But it's not consistent. That's why I see it as a negative, because he was not. What's his actual name?
No, not that.
Whatever. He was not the same character. He was.
I mean, he realized he had a six pack and chiseled jaw, so
and his hairline, his hair was all there. His teeth were
so that can change a man.
Yeah, I guess so. But
every time he spoke, it was just very like swaggerish.
Mm-hmm. No, he was confident with his new body. I mean, I would be too if I looked like that.
My sister and I kept making jokes to each other and stuff because every line had that swagger.
Yeah.
So it's like, is that how he just speaks? Like, is that just normal? Like, is he gonna go to a restaurant and be like, "Can I get I want them chicken crispers, fries on the side." Like, just very cool and this is how he don't like. I want to follow.
He was planning what he was saying.
I want to follow him around and just hear him talk normally because
that's just a tree, man. It's just a tree.
Yeah, because every line he said, like Jamie Foxx has his real name Eric, which I learned recently, which was weird to me. Okay. His real name is Eric Bishop. Anyway, Jamie Foxx, now I feel like I'm talking like he has so much charisma.
Yeah.
That like
someone say he's like the captain of charisma.
I want more of that. Just every line he said, I think I may have enjoyed or laughed. Mm-hmm. I don't think there was a time he spoke and I wasn't.
At least smiled each time.
I
gotta watch where you're falling, man.
Or gotta watch where you fall. Pits. Yeah, because he fell in eels and he fell in the
sand. Yeah,
like every line was
so good.
That's another like meta like reference as well. Like just poking fun at how the villains.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of self-referential things in the film that I really enjoyed.
And then like Toby constantly calling Andrew like, "You're amazing."
Yeah, well, that was one of the ones I had here. The "You're amazing" line and him. Well, it wasn't even that. It stemmed from, Tom was talking about his cool feats and Toby
feats. Comment if you're on the YouTube version, comment feats FEATS.
Don't bring this back again.
We're 21 episodes in, so
is it?
Yeah,
really?
21 on the podcast feed.
Oh wow, okay. Anyways, so Tom was talking about his cool accomplishments, and so was Toby, and Andrew's Spider-Man got the short end of the stick. He only got 2 films, and his was canceled. So it was a self-referential and meta, like you said. He was like, "I don't know, you guys it's cool. I'm lame," he didn't earn the third movie, because people weren't too. I don't know, whatever executive decisions were made. But the fact that they were able to tell him, he's like, "Wait, hold on, what did you just say?" He's like, "What?" It's like, no, you're not lame. Like, and the fact that it was Toby's Spider-Man saying that, oh man, dude, it was so good, dude. Like, it was it's a dumb line because it's like, no, you're amazing, and obviously he was an amazing Spider-Man. So, but come on, man, that's what I wanted. I wanted fun stuff like that true fans really know, and you don't even have to be a true fan to really enjoy all of that, but there's a double meaning and double layers or more than one layer to it when you are a big fan of these films and you see these characters that I never thought I was going to see interact. Not until Into the Spider-Verse kind of opened up that idea, and I was like, yo, what if they did this with real life? You know, with the real life people. And then come on. So it was all...
So you're saying you wanted Ned to open up another portal and you hear...
I would have laughed, and
that would have been on his list.
It would have been.
On his list.
One of my favorite lines when they're struggling to work together, Tom's Peter says, "Yeah, I've been in the Avengers," and there was just so much excitement and joy in Toby's face when I was just like, "Are they going to reveal that he has his own Avenger?" He's like, "Avenge, that's great. Who are they? Or who's that?" Like, that's perfect, dude. Like, I love it.
I was a little sad, actually. I was like, well, I mean, I enjoyed the line, but I was like, oh, he never got to do all the cool things.
That wasn't what they were working for. You know, that wasn't what they were working towards in those films. Like, no one really thought about having them share the universe.
Well, no, I just mean like they could have just said like, oh, he knew them, like he eventually met them in his.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
No, but I prefer that line even better because it was just Toby being Toby. But yeah, that's what I have for the fun, self-referential things and memes and poking fun at themselves.
That's a good set of greatness.
Yeah, and then just like little things here and there, like, yo, I totally got to a fight with Doctor Strange, and I totally won. Like, that's just great. A lot of fun stuff. Yeah.
So Daredevil, No Way Home. Oh wait, what's the movie called?
Oh my God, Elmo, it's time to stop laughing. The humor's over. We're gonna move on to a section called "Who's Cutting These Onions?" This movie was sad at some times, man. How'd that maze scene hit you? Like it hit her.
But you said there's no more time.
I know. It's a serious. Don't be making jokes like that. What'd you think of that scene and the role reversal of that important statement that I honestly had no idea was ever going to be said?
I thought that was already implied that had happened. I was sad that she died, but I didn't particularly think there were any onions being cut near me.
Oh wow. Yeah, this is I what should I expect from Mr. Negative? Okay. So I love this actress.
Marissa
Tomei. She is great. Any of the movies she's in, she's always great, and I really liked her as Aunt May, and especially specifically in this movie. I should have seen it coming, but they were really making her likable, like more. She had a lot more to do and was around more in this film than the previous ones. And usually I take TV drama shows. They usually do that when they're about to end a character. They really give them a really cool episode or something really important to do, and all of a sudden, oh snap, this person in Walking Dead is dead because this whole episode was about him. You know?
Right.
And I should have seen that coming, but I just didn't. So the fact, I see her get hit, and I was like, they just killed Aunt May. Like,
yeah.
But then she gets up, and I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I was like, thank God. But then she wasn't all there, and I'm like, oh no. Like, it was such a roller coaster for me. It was like, oh, she's dead. And then I'm like, oh no, she's good. Okay, good. And then it's like, oh, she's not walking right. And then she said the line, I'm like, she's definitely dying now.
Yeah.
And oh, God. And it was such a long scene of her death and Peter just not accepting it. Like the whole like, hey, like, come on, May, like I'm here, like get up, like come on now, like you can, like he just kept saying it over and over again, and he just like, you can tell that he knew she was done, and obviously the audience knew, but he just wasn't letting it, he wasn't accepting it, and to me that scene was very, very powerful. And then again, like I mentioned, the whole with great power, and this one she changed it up slightly. It's like must come then must come great responsibility or something. I screwed it up, but whatever, she changed it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
And apparently it's more accurate to the actual comics, and apparently it wasn't ever even said by Ben. I don't really remember, but Regardless,
Man, you just ruined a lot of
well,
memories
it's
for a lot of people.
It's okay. Because it was the comics. Apparently, it was just like a comic strip, and it was Peter just flying by, and then it was just like a speech bubble, or not even a speech bubble, like a thought bubble. It's like, I guess with great power or something like that, there must also come with responsibility. And then in the movies, it popularized it with making Uncle Ben saying it and everything. So I think it's more powerful that way. Because that be like the last thing you remember before the person dies. So they switched up this one, and to me it was just like, man, I thought I was done with this scene. You know, I've seen the Uncle Ben die, I've seen Bruce Wayne's parents die so many times. Like, I'm done with these deaths. But it was a whole new meaning now, and to me it brought it back, and I'm like, come on, man. And then, so that was the one scene. So obviously that's a very, very, very sad scene. And just the acting was superb on Tom Holland's part. This is the one of the things we predicted with Andrew Garfield.
Oh, with the catch?
Yeah. Did you want to elaborate?
Like when we summarize the event?
Mm-hmm. What did we predict and what happened?
So Zendaya, she's on top of the scaffold.
Oh, here we go.
And she falls. Peter goes to save her. He ain't quick enough.
He was quick. He was hit by
She
Goblin.
dropped like a stone, like an Emma stone, into the air, about to hit the floor.
Yeah.
And someone got, I don't want to say redemption, because it's not like people were like, "Oh, you failed. You sucked, Andrew. You couldn't do it." But he got
that. No, that's his thoughts.
Right.
And that he said that himself just a few scenes earlier. He's like, I couldn't catch my MJ. I'll never forgive myself. All that stuff. So. He failed. He sucks in his head.
Mm-hmm. But he was able to, make it up in a way. Yeah,
exactly. And I couldn't have been more happier. I knew it was happening.
Yeah.
We called it. We're like, that's clearly what's going to happen. So happy it still happened. And just the acting on his part at the end, it was just like, oh, come on, man. With just him I can't even... Trying to think about it, and I don't want to because it's gonna make me cry. But he was tearing up and was like, "You okay? Yeah, are you? So good." I will say, this film made me like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man a lot more.
Oh, definitely.
Because I did not like those. I enjoyed them enough, but never enough to rewatch them. I think I've only seen Amazing Spider-Man 2 maybe once.
You pre-ordered those games though?
Did I?
Yeah.
I didn't play 2.
Sure. You told me you
one
get
of them.
every Spider-Man game on release. That was your thing. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't remember those ones.
I remember borrowing.
I'm sure I got one of them. But I had the first Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay. And
I didn't like the game, so I never got the second one.
Okay.
Yeah, if there was. I don't even remember the second one. Regardless. Very sad scene, well acted by Mr. Garfield there. Now here's one from my childhood that it just hit me in the feels just because of nostalgia reasons. Tobey Maguire and Doc Ock talking at the very end. And obviously Doc Ock is well now. He's been adjusted and fixed, and now he doesn't
to have that conversation.
Yeah, just again a little bit more closure. Like, so good. I forgot what was even said. He was just like finally. The thing is, Doc Ock's been searching for his Peter this whole freaking movie. He keeps getting the wrong Peter. So he finally sees the one he's familiar with, and obviously he's better now. And before he was corrupted, he had a really good relationship with Peter Parker. It was like a really good just back and forth between them. And then it's just like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, doing better. Like, just simple lines, but it meaning so much to someone who
there's a lot to read in between the lines.
Yeah, so much. And again, just so well acted between the two people there. And it's just like to have, like you said, a lot to read between the lines with just the simplest dialogue, but it's the emotion that's handling it, and then the knowledge of what happened in the past and everything. It's just like,
there's a lot of problems that I one of the problems I have with a lot of the Marvel movies is they keep killing off their villains. Like, there's one in particular that is, should I say the movie
for which one
that the villain dies in?
Oh, yeah, that's an old movie.
Okay.
guys, you know,
we're gonna spoil everything
here.
pre-Infinity War, I guess.
Pre Spider-Man No Way Home.
So just know that's happening.
Yeah.
Black Panther. Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest like error to make. Obviously, you can't control, the Chadwick Boseman situation,
well, of course.
But like
you're talking about Killmonger.
Yes.
Okay.
They killed Killmonger.
Yeah.
And while I thought it was kind of almost beautiful in a way that he was like, I'm not going to be like in chains like my ancestors. They keep just write the ending differently. They keep killing off their villains. So it was nice that this movie was about saving the villains because they keep killing them.
Yeah. No, it was. I guess that can lead into this next section, which is what I consider the plot holes in the film. I just want your ideas of how of what your opinion is on them, if you have any explanation for them, because a lot of these I really don't, and it's hopefully just me. Or it sounds like it's just me wishing for certain things to make sense.
Mr.
When I
Negative
honestly,
over here, nitpicking.
No. I mean, this is just something that I want to bring up, just because you pretty much hate this film from the beginning of when you said. Did I not? Did I misconstrue that?
Daredevil No Way Home was a fantastic film.
No, he's home, man. He's back. No, so we mentioned this earlier. Jamie Foxx is Electro. The whole point that these guys are here, they're like, hey, you screwed up the spell, and people that know Peter Parker, they're coming in from different worlds because whatever. He never knew he was Peter Parker. Why is he there? Do you have any explanation on your end? Because I don't. And I've looked up theories and I've heard some, but none to stick with me. Yeah,
there were some like, Gwen was heard saying the word Peter at some point. I'm like, yeah, but
that's not.
Why would he know?
Oh, that's Spider-Man, I guess.
Oh, why? That's not a common name.
Yeah, so a little bit of a plot
that's
hole
one
there.
Of the like just
one that I don't care.
I don't care.
It's like he was there, and another thing, why is he so much cooler now? They explained it like because when they first showed him, you didn't see what he looks like. He was just in his blue form.
Yeah,
which he no longer was later on in the movie because whatever he now felt the new energy from the world, and I guess the energy from this universe is different. So now he takes a different appearance. So that's a very one-off sentence kind of deal that they threw out there real quick. Just something to think about. That one they, like I said, kind of vaguely explained, but the Peter thing, that doesn't make any sense to me. So whatever. Not a big deal.
I mean, Peter looks different in different universes, so why can't Electro?
But why only him?
Why
does Doc Ock look the same? Electro.
Okay.
Why does Doc Ock look the same? Why does Norman look the same? Why does literally everyone else except for him? That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyways, just something to think about. Now, here's one of the things I was curious of, and to see what your take on it is. From my understanding with the film, these villains were removed right before their moment of death.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange was trying to throw them back. What in Tom Holland's mind do you think he was trying to do by fixing them? Because when they go back, in your opinion, what point do they go back to? Because if they're about to die, there's no point in fixing them.
I believe,
unless it's like seconds before and they have enough time to stop.
I'm sure it's not that exact second.
But that's what they explain themselves. Like Doc Ock is like, yeah, I was trying to stop the thing from collapsing under the water, and then I'm here. And then same thing with Jamie Foxx. He's like, yeah, man, I was charging up. I was about to come pure energy. The cool way you said it. Yeah. And then he's like, then I was here. So it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the point they removed them, I don't know. To me, that's just something to think about. Like, how did you handle that? Because what I would like it to be is like, yeah, they go back at an earlier point, but like, why would that be the case if they were pulled at that point?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you're playing with fake rules of a fake universe, so you could easily, there's a one line can be easily placed in and implying that they have just enough time to stop doing what it is.
But they didn't give that line, is what I'm saying.
Right, they didn't, but
And if they did, I wouldn't be bringing this up.
It's a long enough movie. They're not going to cover.
You can
everything.
give a minute. You can give a minute for a line.
They have, but that's a minute taken away from Daredevil. That's what it'll always come down to. I just think in my head it was like they'll have enough time to fix it. Like if Peter's fighting Electro and he all of a sudden just is like, wait, whoa,
hold on,
Peter will stop.
Wait, I'm good.
Yeah. It's like, you see this button on my chest?
It's green. It's got green lights.
Yeah,
I'm good. Okay, it's just something to think about. Now, here's another thing. What was the spell that Doctor Strange had to do at the very end to fix everything? What was the thing that he told him that would happen? Explain, please.
Everyone who knows Peter Parker will forget Peter Parker.
So did Tom Holland just screw up Andrew and Toby's Peter Parkers?
No,
are they going to go back to their timeline and now all of a sudden Kirsten Dunst and Emma Stone won't? Oh,
no, because all those people were trying to come in with that knowledge. So I think everyone just in the realm there forgot.
Well, no, because remember they were coming into the realm because the spell was screwed up. It's like, well, everyone that knows Peter Parker is now coming in here. Mm-hmm. So now that he says, but again, that affected other universes. So now when he does the spell, everyone's not going to forget Peter Parker.
I don't think this one affects other universes.
Well, why would this one not? And the other one does. The only explanation that I have for that, I'm going to wait on yours first.
Sorry, I scratched my leg.
No, it's okay. The only explanation that I have for that is I have one. Mm-hmm. And this could very well be it. But I'm just curious if you had if that even crossed your mind.
I mean,
apparently it didn't.
Well, no, I mean, it did. It's just in my head, like, I guess the way I logicked itself in there is it's a lot easier to keep doing a spell that allows bleeding into your own. Okay. Allows a few cracks to form. That can happen. That's easy. Because mistakes can happen, especially when he redid this spell half a dozen times. Okay. But in this way, this was a fully concentrated, I'm fully focusing on this timeline. There were no mistakes in the spell. It could consistently, Doctor Strange can consistently do what he's attempting to do. Okay. This was an uninhibited Doctor Strange.
That's exactly my theory as well. But as you were saying it there, I'm like, oh crap, well here's where it also falls apart. Those cracks were already they were all over the place. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So
he closed them.
Okay.
All right. Doctor Strange, not Dr. Failure.
Okay.
I thought I'd come up with a better one as I was saying that.
Didn't like the Scooby-Doo line.
No.
I didn't get it.
No.
I never I kind of got it, but
it was in the trailer too, and I was like...
It was a PG-13 version was in the trailer, and then... Or no, a PG version was in the trailer, and the PG-13 version was in this. And I just didn't like it. It wasn't good.
Yeah. Like, I keep wanting to say today... Who's MJ to go up to Doctor Strange and be like,
"Oh no,
that you didn't say the magic word"? I'm like,
yeah, no, I like that because she is that person. She don't care who she's talking to. She's dating Spider-Man. She don't care about Doctor Strange.
This isn't Doctor Strange. It's Doctor Strange. Show some respect. She don't know. Can do it, but I don't mean I gotta like her.
Just some weird guy in a cloak to her. She don't know him. Anyways,
well then, why are you bragging to your girlfriend? You beat Doctor Strange with the power of math. If he ain't a top dollar deal.
Okay. Let's move on. So that was it for my questions and plot holes that I had. Okay.
I watched Dragon Ball Z. I sometimes don't need to question plot holes.
They'll bring up those plot holes 2 different shows from now and fix them. So it's fine. Okay. How did you want to end this? There's still a couple more things I want to say that I really liked, but did you want to talk about the post-credit scene with Mr. Eddie Brock? Or did you want to move on to what do you think the franchise is going to go from here?
We'll do the post-credits. And just go in order here.
Well, not really, because the post-credits is post the movie.
Right, but then you're talking about what happens after the movie.
Well, we're going to talk about the ending and then what happens after. So now,
so Eddie Brock now.
All right, Eddie Brock now.
Which I kind of brought up earlier.
Yeah, you did. And we didn't get into details. Let's get into details quickly now. What do you think the whole post-credit scene was about?
I was just introducing Venom as a possibility in this universe.
Do you think it's going to be a different Venom? It won't be Eddie Brock's anymore? Or it won't be Tom Hardy's anymore?
It's not going to be Tom Hardy.
Okay. That's what I got from that too. Yeah. And I was just like, huh.
That's why I was like, oh.
You
Aw.
teased it at the end of his own movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's big news.
That was big. When
I was like, this is kind of crazy. I didn't think they were going to do this. And I was just like, I'm not a fan of what they did with those Venom movies, but...
as the negative one.
No, as the smart one. I'm not a fan of what they did with Venom with his movies, but the same way I was like, well, magic happens when Sony and Disney work together. Sony, Marvel, and Disney, whatever. So I'm like, well, if they meet again, it's going to be great. Like, Marvel will find a way to, quote unquote, fix his Eddie Brock and make him work with Tom Holland. So I was genuinely excited because I'm like, I don't want them to introduce another Eddie Brock and then have him introduce the Venom symbiote thing again. Have him do all that. We've already gotten that twice.
I mean, it doesn't have to be Eddie Brock.
Whoever. I mean,
Flash.
it ain't going to go on Flash.
Why not?
It won't go on Flash. Who else is? It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, although I'm not a huge fan of those, I still go to the theaters and I watch them. I enjoy what I'm seeing, but it's just like, that's not really the Venom that I like. That version, this take on Venom is not my preferred angle that I would go with him. But regardless, I was ready to see it happen. I was excited. So then when they took him away, and I'm like, you jerks.
I was very sad.
I'm like,
and it made sense, but
because to me this was his chance. I'm like, just give this version to Marvel and just see what they do, because I'm curious the different styles are, of the just Sony movie and then one that's just Marvel, but with the exact same character, with the same actor in the same universe. Let's do it. And then they took it away. So I'm just like, oh God. And I think that's it. I don't think there's any hope of him coming back, right? Dang it.
He's done with that. I mean, they might continue and put him in a Morbius deal or something.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's another thing that plot holes from Morbius. He's like, I have Venom. It's like, so he's in the Morbius thing. So he's not done? Or is he going to continue on in just his own universe?
He's going to continue on to his own.
Okay.
I mean, that Morbius, that Venom verse.
See, here's the deal. Here's what I've been waiting for since the first Venom. I want that dang spider to be on him. I want that white spider to be on Venom. And the only way that's really going to happen is if that symbiote goes on Spider-Man's suit first and then has its own cracked out version of it when it comes back on Eddie Brock. Or whoever ends up being Venom. Oh, that's how he'll finally get that symbol. And he's been missing it this whole time. So Venom looks, I think, really cool looking in these new movies, but he's missing his iconic symbol. And he's been through 2 movies already, and he's already fighting Carnage, and he doesn't even have his symbol.
I mean, this isn't the first time something like that's happened. Like, we went through 2 seasons of Iron Fist, and he never got the costume. But they
there's a different echelon between Iron Fist and
no,
Venom.
for sure, but like they clearly
I get what you're saying, and there is some similarities there, but you don't hold out for Venom. At least Venom's too popular. He has his own. What else villain is getting his own movie besides Morbius? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get that too often. They're finally starting to do it with freaking Black Adam and whatnot. But it's rare.
Venom has been
and
enough
Venom,
of an anti-hero as of the late 90s.
And he holds his own, and the fact that they're doing that, and they just still haven't gotten it right. So to me, that was one of the things I was excited about. I'm like, halfway through whatever this movie's going to be, Venom versus Spider-Man, whatever stupid thing they called it, he's going to get his symbol, and he's just going to look fantastic. And now they're not going to. Unless they figure out another way. There's rumors of like him meeting Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to continue that story. I'm like, but then you teased Tom Holland. You showed his face on the TV. Like, I don't know. It's just weird, but whatever. Just something to think about of how that is. But yeah, weird, strange decision that they're just going to remove him now from the universe that they were slowly building. It's like Sony had the idea, but Disney was like,
I mean, they put it in to begin with.
I don't know.
They had to get permission from Disney to use that footage in the Venom post-credits anyway.
I guess. But then
there was some synergy, but
yeah. But
they could do, clearly after this movie, they could do whatever they want.
I guess this is
it's all,
and I'm going to say in quotes, again, smart way of throwing Venom into this somehow. I don't know.
I mean, because Venom, the symbiotes is always like it's like an alien, so it's something that's not supposed to be there.
Right.
So this was a way to get it there.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. We'll see what they do.
I mean, you could get Tom Hardy.
As much as I'm not enjoying those films, I'm sad that he's not going to be in Meet with Tom Hardy.
Well, they're focusing on a Craven movie.
That's fine. I've never seen Craven live action. I wouldn't mind it.
Mm-hmm. It's his own movie, so I don't.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that. Okay, so now we're gonna circle back to probably kind of ending it here with what do you think they're gonna do from here? Like we kind of brought up earlier, we're used to seeing Peter on his own, at least in the films, on his own, kind of struggling with things, working on getting a job. Usually that's where his work-life balance and superhero balance comes into life. Now that he made his... Oh, that was another Cutting Onions thing. Heartbreaking decision to not even talk to MJ and even Ned anymore, just because he saw how positive your lives were without him in it. That is a Tobey Maguire decision right there. That is to some extent, Andrew Maguire decision, even though he ruined it. But it's fine. Like I'm finally seeing the Spider-Man that I know with these tough choices that I do not agree with. Mm-hmm. but to me, it was kind of genius the way they were able to, when they first introduced this Spider-Man, they said, "Hey, you've seen the origin. Mm-hmm. We're not going to do this again." And not only are we not going to introduce the origin, we're not even going to introduce him in his own film. We're going to throw him in Civil War. Y'all know who Spider-Man is. So they skipped all that. And he just had brief mentions, and like Ned, when he found out, he's like, "Oh, so you got bit by the spider? Can I get bit by it?" Like little things like that, just to whatever. So it's so smart to me that they skipped all that, and they found a way to revert back to it. And now, no one knows who. Well, somehow no one knows who Peter is anymore, but no one knows he's Spider-Man. So he's gonna be able to keep that private now. You won't have Nick Fury banging on his door. Oh, I guess he can find a way. He's pretty good.
I mean, he's just like, he's gonna know who Spider-Man
right.
is. So he'll just
maybe, yeah. So we'll see.
Let's get the Spider-Man in here.
And then now we're gonna see him try to date again. Maybe we'll finally get introduced to.
We'll get Gwen,
and then eventually MJ again. And I don't know. It's just, how do you think that was handled? Because to me, with the decisions they made to get to this point, which isn't the way I would have done it, but they already did the decisions. To me, it's kind of genius. They were able to tie it all back to the beginning. And also, we know Spider-Man to make his own suit. He's been kind of handed all this technology to him from Tony Stark this whole time. Like, it was a different take versus the hard worker who kind of figured it out on his own and went through like a weird rough patch with his own homemade suit, which he had. But so now he's back to it and he made his own suit again.
He's going to have to fight Bonesaw.
That would be funny.
Rest in peace, Randy Savage. But
was that who that was?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I have no idea. I have no idea.
So they, like I said earlier, like it's nice, it's cool that they put him in this position where I'm like, this is where Spider-Man kind of was for me. Mm-hmm. And I do think this is when we get Gwen. He's gonna work for the Daily Bugle. We're gonna get all those like classic Spider-Man moments.
Because to me that makes sense. He sees how much Jonah hates him, and he's like, you know what? Maybe if I work for him and I can kind of make him change his idea of who Spider-Man is. So to me, they're just setting that all up perfectly. Like, it's just genius. Like you said, this is the Spider-Man we know, and this is just the start of it, even though I feel like we've had so many movies with him in it, and now we're finally getting to the Spider-Man that we're familiar with.
If they make more Spider-Man movies, which...
They will. Whether he's in it, that's a different story.
Well, then what do they...
I don't know.
I mean, then...
Multiverse.
Then we've broken...
Flashpoint coming out. He might screw up Marvel's timeline, too.
But then we might... Like, we gotta... If you're not going to do Tom Holland, then I don't know what you're doing for a while.
I don't know.
There's got to be a substantial break.
Yeah. I don't know.
And the next phase of movies are all just so wildly different than anything we've gotten before.
Yeah, we're in an interesting point, and like I said, just the fact that it ends the way it does. I'm just bewildered how they're going to do it. Like you said, if it's going to be him, how long do we have to wait? Like all that stuff.
Like, I don't know where this is all leading. Like, this phase 4.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know.
Because, like, I went on Disney Plus recently, and there's a way to see, like, everything, all phase 1, all phase 2, and so on. And there's a lot. There's, like, 4 movies or 5 movies in phase 1. Phase 2 has, like, 8. And then you get to phase 3, it's, like, 10. And then you get to phase 4, it's like, well, we're, like, on our 13th, and with no end in sight. So it kind of just feels like...
Have you seen Eternals?
No.
Okay.
It feels like there's... Not that they're wasting time,
Disney Plus,
but just that, like, we're on a treadmill and we're running and we're getting exercise, but we're not really going anywhere yet. Because where is this all leading?
The thing is, it's so hard to top what they did with Infinity War. Or no, what was the newest one? Endgame.
I mean, that was the second part.
Yeah, right. But still, man, like there's... I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't think they will.
No, we still got a Strange movie. We still got a Guardians 3, Black Panther 2. So that another Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So that's at minimum. That's just off the top of my head. That's like 4 more properties on that phase 4 list.
Crap, do you know about... I'm curious if you heard the rumors. Well, they actually... No, it's okay. You know what? No, they officially announced it. They got Blade coming out.
Yeah. It's Cottonmouth is actor. Cottonmouth's actor. Which is amazing.
Perfect casting. Like,
I'm so happy he gets to do something again. He was used well, but not enough. In Luke Cage.
Oh, he was incredible.
So to see him get work is fan-freaking-tastic. But I just don't know what the end game is for, pun not intended. I don't see where we're going. So
I gotcha.
I'm a little confused.
I'm sure. I don't have any reason not to trust Marvel at this point.
Yeah.
I heard something about Secret Wars and who knows what. So
I mean, it's a lot of multiverse.
Yeah, especially now that they've introduced the multiverse, so much stuff can happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of...
Vision.
Oh yeah, the White Vision out there just doing his own thing. Yeah, we'll see. All right, so let's kind of wrap up our thoughts here. Just a couple things I really wanted to mention. The shot of Tom, Andrew, and Peter when they do that pose. So hype.
I've seen a lot of art of it.
Oh, I can imagine. Them all talking before the fight was great. The back crack thing. Do you know about that story?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
I'm going to butcher it probably, and I'll get through it quickly, but this is important to know, and I think you might appreciate why they specifically focus on that a little longer than maybe you thought they would. During Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire was a little bit of a drama queen, and he had some kind of back injury that comes and goes. And from what I understand, he was asking for a lot of money, like more money than they had originally pitched him to be back as Spider-Man. And he was like, well, I ain't coming back because I have this back injury and I need more money because I have to deal with this pain or whatever. Something like that, right? Might be saying it a little off. So then they were like, all right, well, we're going to look for someone else. And then at that point, they were getting close to getting Jake Gyllenhaal, which is a weird tie-around moment. When he was, Mysterio. But anyways, so eventually they worked it out and he was able to be back in the movie. But in that movie, in Spider-Man 2, when he was back, there is a scene when he's jumping up from the building. He's like, I'm back. But then he falls because he hadn't got his mojo back yet. And he hurts himself in the film. And he's like, my back. And that was a thing that the director did for fun. And at that point, they squashed their beef or whatever. And Toby was fine with even acting that scene out in the movie. So the fact that years later he still has this back problem, and then Andrew's the one that fixes it, was just so funny to me, especially for someone that actually only kind of recently learned that before the film. I was happy I learned that fact before the film came out because I wouldn't have understood.
I mean that's very cool to know. I took it at face value. He's old. He's old. Yeah. You're the one who told me as soon as I turn 30, I'm gonna wake up and my knees are gonna creak. Yeah. There was a cool thing that they didn't focus on very long. It was just like the subtle thing that they did. But at one point, as the Spider-Man were doing their thing, there was like a web in between them. And one of the Spider-Men used the tether to slingshot himself. This was all in the air too. And I was just like, because the first time I saw it, I'm like, wait, what? Okay, whatever. And the second time I was looking for it, I'm like,
I don't know. It's just cool. Like, I never thought of that. And the
That's
fact
why
that,
they-
and you can only see it in a movie like this when you have these three
That's
Spider-Man
why
doing
they
their
needed
thing.
maybe another action scene
With all three of them, you
piece
mean?
in there. Or just have Toby and Andrew fight.
Well, I
I
love
thought
the
that was
little,
gonna happen
the little,
for a second.
yeah, the little stand down they had in the beginning was cool.
I mean,
There's just so much to
it's a
talk
great
about
movie.
this film.
It was a long movie too.
It was a long one. It's a long cast too. I told Elmo, well, we can probably knock this out in under an hour.
Well, we talked about Daredevil for 18 minutes.
Yeah,
or
we
so. Which was not even half of what he deserved.
True that.
Charlie, if you're listening, Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox.
I
I met him once, Comic-Con. I got a picture up there over there, on the wall behind me. It's pretty cool. You don't.
I was
Anyways.
gonna have that happen, but then I waited too long and it was sold out.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it. I was like, let me think about it and just make sure, look at my bank account. I should have just done it.
I got a picture of Luke Cage too.
I do too.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were there.
Luke Cage.
All right. Anyways, fantastic film. I'm so happy it came out. I'm happy they nailed everything exactly what I wanted. I cannot wait to see it a third time.
I feel like I can't complain because they gave me probably the largest amount of glee any movie can give me.
And the fact that he's still rated a 4 out of 5 is pretty much just taking a poop all over it. Terrible score.
That's the equivalent. It's the
equivalent
next,
of an 8.5.
It's the next best score to perfect, of which you gave it the next best score to perfect as well.
Okay.
On your 10 scale with 0.5s.
20-point scale. All right then. Well, that was our spoiler-filled review and discussion on Spider-Man No Way Home. Thank you for joining me today. I know it's been... Oh, you're doing that already?
I'm just getting background noise for you.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I know it's been some time.
There's webs.
Hopefully there's not too much of a time in between our next review. You having 2 kids and all. So we will see. But thank you for listening, everybody.
And they should remember something.
To follow us on...
Oh, yeah. At ed_discussions on Twitter. And
Hold on. Keep going. On Twitter?
Find us on Twitter. And like all of Felipe's posts.
Sure.
I did a post.
I haven't done it in a while.
2 or 3 times.
Oh, okay. Follow us on Spotify, Google Podcasts,
Apple Podcasts.
and a new one that you haven't heard about yet.
Oh, no. What?
Follow us on TikTok.
Oh, God. Okay.
There's 2 videos up.
What's the...
You'll see.
Okay.
Follow us.
Well, no, what's the...
I don't know.
We should know this.
Yeah, I know. I probably should have. Educated_discussions. I'm pretty sure. That's what it is. @educated_discussions.
I'll check it out.
I'll work on some stuff.
I'll
there.
follow it.
I only got 2 things up, but strangely enough, the very first one I did, 600 views already, and I just posted like a few days ago.
Oh, you just post my
and
face because that's going to get a lot of traffic.
And there was 4 people that followed me. So there you go. One of them was myself. No, I'm just kidding. All right, then. Thank you for listening, everybody. We have one request for you. Keep it educated. Up and away, web. Shake and ice cream, 2 different things. Very similar in taste. But not the same thing. So anyway, so you're wired. So what was the topic?
This was ice cream.
It's a shake.
It's stuff that...
The thing is, I put it in the freezer, which is maybe it turned into an ice cream consistency, but it was still a shake.
But you put it in ice, and it was cream.
In the freezer.
It was cream that was iced.
No.
You made ice cream.
I did something really close to it, but it was still a shake.
Is that not cream?
No, it was not. It was a shake. Anyways.
You made ice cream.
No. Any topics?
Fire Emblem.